Hi everyone, today we're looking at tuning your electric guitar, and I'm going to show you how to do that using the Guitar Tuner app and also how to do that using a clip-on tuner. Just before we start, we need to look at the two common types of guitar heads and the configurations of the tuning keys on those heads. So over on the left here we've got a Stratocaster style guitar where you've got 6 tuning keys in a row. And when you hold that guitar to play it, those tuning keys are on the top. With this guitar here, this is a Les Paul. So with this type of guitar, you've got 3 tuning keys on either side. So when you hold this guitar up to play it, you're going to have 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. Okay, and so tuning these two guitars is slightly different. You will find some guitars out there with some different configurations. Those ones are fairly rare, so sometimes you might get 4 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Or you might get 6 in a row, but they're on the bottom of the headstock rather than the top. So some guitar manufacturers just like to make the guitars a little different. But if you watch this video, you'll still get the general gist of it and understand how to tune your guitar. So just before we start, we need to look at the way that the strings are connected to the tuning keys. You need to make sure that the 6th string is connected here, 5th string, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st. And then on this type of guitar, the tuning key, if you're holding it upright like this, the tuning key should have the string wound around from the right side going around that way. So when you hold this guitar up to play it, and you look at your guitar that way, from that point of view, then the guitar should be strung underneath that tuning key and going around over the top. Okay, if that tuning key is going over the top and around that way, unfortunately it has been strung incorrectly, and you will need to get that sorted before you start. Otherwise everything will be in reverse. And with this type of guitar here, where you've got 3 on either side, that's your 6th string, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and 1st. And with this type of guitar here, the strings should be wound from the inside to the out. From the inside to the out. And so if the strings are being wound around from the outside to the in, it has been strung incorrectly, and you will need to get that looked at. So you'll need to talk to someone who's experienced with guitars. So if you're learning with me, that would be myself, or another guitar teacher, or take it to the music shop. And make sure that you get your guitar strung correctly so that you can actually tune your guitar so that when you play your guitar it actually sounds good. So it's important to get those things right first. Alright, we'll get into it. I'm going to start off by tuning the Stratocaster style guitar where you've got 6 in a row. And I'm using the Guitar Tuner app to tune my guitar. There are a various bunch of different apps out there that you can use to tune up, but I know that this one's pretty popular, so that's why I'm using this one today. And the thing about using an app to tune your guitar is you really need to have quite a quiet environment for it to work, because the microphone on your device is actually picking up the sound of your guitar. And so if you're in a noisy environment, then it's going to struggle. You can see that needle just jumping around at the moment. That's because it's picking up the sound of my voice. So if you're in a noisy environment, you really want to use a clip-on tuner, which is something I'm going to show you a little bit later. But we'll just make a start here. I'm in a nice quiet place right now. So I'm just going to start off by playing the 6th string, and the 6th string in standard tuning should be tuned to E. And we're just sticking with standard tuning today. So I'm going to play the 6th string. And you can see that the app is telling me that the note is too low. In musical terms we say flat. If the note is too low, it's flat. And on guitar that means that the string is too loose. So we need to tighten up the string, and as we make the string tighter, the pitch will rise and we will come up to the correct tuning. So I'm going to tighten that string by turning that tuning key anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on where you live. And when it's in tune, the app will give you that nice little tone. It's quite satisfying to tell you that it's in tune. If you go too far, you're going to go over to the right there, and now it's telling you that the note is too high. In musical terms we say sharp. If the note is too high, it's sharp. And that means that the string is too tight. So I'm going to fix that by loosening the string. So now I'm turning it clockwise. Okay, if it jumps around a little bit, don't worry too much. As long as you're getting that tone, you know that it's in tune. Sometimes the actual tone from that app, the microphone then hears that tone and it jumps around a little bit. So don't worry too much about that, as long as it's in the center. Okay, now I'm going to tune my 5th string. So we're going to tune that to the note A. So again, that note's flat. Most of the time when you go to tune your guitar, the notes will be flat. The strings just do loosen off a little bit over time. Sometimes in humid weather they go a bit sharp, but usually flat. Okay, so I'm just going to tune that string up by tuning that tuning key again anti-clockwise until I get that nice tone. Alright, and I'm going to tune my 4th string. Again, it's flat. It's too low, so I'm going to tighten that string up. And same thing with my 3rd string. 3rd string will be tuned to G. And when I tune the guitar, you really just want to use small, gentle movements to tune it up. The tuning keys, especially on an electric guitar, are quite sensitive, so you don't want to sit there cranking it. Just using small, gentle movements until you hit that nice tone. And again, remember, if you go too far, now you're sharp, no worries, you're just going to bring it back to the center there. Okay, my 2nd string, tune to B. And my 1st string will be tuned to E. Okay, so remember, if your guitar is strung correctly, you're tuning it anti-clockwise to tune it up, or clockwise to tune it down. I'm just going to have a little go over those strings again. Make sure they're all good. Okay, and when you can see this all in tune, it's good to just give it a little test by playing a chord like E or G, a chord that involves all of the strings. If you haven't learned how to play chords yet, that is something I'm going to teach in a later video. You can hear that their guitar's in tune, it's got a nice sound to it. Sounding good. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to tune the other guitar with 3 tuning keys on each side. Okay, so now we're going to tune up the Les Paul, and this is going to work the same way for the top 3 strings. So when I play the 6th string, I'm going to tune that up to E by turning the tuning key anti-clockwise. Same with the 5th string. Same with the 4th string. Okay, now these 3 down here are going to be a little bit different because they're pointing down that way. So to tune it up, now I'm going to turn that tuning key clockwise. Clockwise from my point of view, looking down that way. Tuning it up until you get that tone. Same thing with the 2nd string. And same thing with the 1st string. Okay, so again we're just using standard tuning here. So your 6th string will be tuned to E, 5th string tuned to A, 4th string tuned to D, 3rd string tuned to G, 2nd string tuned to B, and your 1st string tuned to E. Okay, now that guitar was quite out of tune when I did that, so what we want to do then, just before we finish with that one, is we just want to give those strings a little stretch. Okay, so just a gentle little stretch like that. Give them a little tug. Okay, and then just quickly go over that again. 6th string. So it's gone a little bit flat there just from stretching out. 5th string. 4th string. 3rd string. 2nd string. And remember what I just showed you there with these 3 strings. To tune them up, then from this point of view, you're turning it clockwise rather than anti-clockwise. Okay, so that's how you tune a guitar using the Guitar Tuner app, and we'll move on to using the clip-on tuners now. Okay, so now we're going to use these clip-on tuners. And I've got a few different ones to show you here. They all basically work the same way, but there's a few little differences that I want to show you. Okay, so this is the one that I've used in previous videos. And you're just going to clip it onto the end of the headstock there. You turn it on by pressing that button down and holding it. That's how most of them work. Okay. And when I play the 6th string, you'll see that that display is over to the left there, and so again you're just aiming to get that into the center. That's just the app giving you that tone there. I'll turn that off. Okay, so these ones don't have a little chime or a tone, so you're just going to read the display there, and again getting that 5th string tuned up to A. Okay, same way by tuning the string up, turning that tuning key anti-clockwise. Same with the 4th string, tuning that up to D. 3rd string, tuning that up to G. 2nd string, tuning that up to B. And 1st string up to E, like so. So there's a couple of little things you need to take notice of here. You've got to make sure with these ones that this here says 440. Okay, you can see that there, it says 440. That can be changed up or down. So if you scan through that, you want to bring it back to 440 there. 440 is the correct frequency for that to be on. Okay, it's a feature for fine-tuning for certain things, but beginner guitarists don't need to know too much about that. You just need to make sure that that says 440. And as I've shown you in previous videos, this should be either on C or G. C is for chromatic. Okay, I'll bring that a little closer. G is for guitar, B is for bass, and U is for ukulele. You want to make sure that's either on C or G. C, chromatic, that means you can tune any note to any string, right? And then G is for guitar. So one of those will work for you. I just want to show you another tuner. This one here is a little different. This one's a D'Addario tuner. I don't really have a preference, they're all pretty good. Okay. So with the D'Addario one there, you can see the display's a little bit different. So rather than going left to right, it's going up and down. So when the note's flat, the display is showing you further down there below the E. So you tune it up. It's in the center, and if you go too far, it's going to go into that red territory over the top of the E. So it's just a slightly different display, so rather than going left to right, it's up and down. But it's telling you the same thing. I'll show you another little one here. This one is made by Artist. Try to get the light out of there. Okay, so with this one, it's quite cool because when the note's out of tune, the display is orange. But when you hit the right note, it changes to green. Okay, so if that note's flat, it's orange, tune it up, and it's green. So all of these kind of clip-on tuners are pretty good. I don't think there's too many really bad ones out there. So I can't tell you what to avoid. Like I said, the advantage of them is that you can use these in a noisy environment because they're not using a microphone. They're actually detecting the vibration of your guitar. And the vibration of your guitar is actually the note that you're playing. So it doesn't matter if you're at band practice or if your house is really noisy, just use a clip-on tuner like that. They're not expensive. I think the most expensive ones are maybe like $60. You can get ones as cheap as, I've bought some of these online, just off AliExpress and places like that for a couple of bucks each. Right. So they're a good option. I think it's good to have the tuning app and a clip-on tuner as well. Alright, and we will move on to the other guitar. Okay, so I think you get the general idea of how to tune a guitar by now. So just again, you're just using that clip-on tuner the same way that you use the tuning app. What's happening here is that's actually saying E flat. So if your note is actually low enough, it'll actually go down to E flat. And sometimes people get a little bit confused there because they tune their note perfectly to E flat, thinking that it's now in tune for E. But if you see there, you've got that little lowercase b looking sign there, that's a flat. Hopefully you can see that on the video. Okay, so if it says E flat, that's not an E. I've tuned that note perfectly now to E flat, but that's not going to be right for standard tuning. So you want to keep tuning it up from there, past E flat, to where it just says E. And again, just tuning it exactly the same way, turning that tuning key anti-clockwise to turn it up, tune it up I should say, and getting that display to hit the center, that green line in the center. Okay, same with the 5th string, it's still in tune, it's fine. And 4th string, tune to D. You'll have to excuse this guitar's got a little bit of a buzz to it. And again, tuning these strings down the bottom here. Now turning your tuning key clockwise to tune the string up. Same with B, and same with the 1st string, tuning it up to E. Same thing. Alright, so there we go. That's how you tune an electric guitar using either the Guitar Tuner app or a clip-on tuner. Hopefully that's been a really helpful lesson for you guys today. Tuning your guitar is a very, very important skill for any guitarist, whether you're a complete beginner or a professional, because of course no matter how much you practice, if your guitar is out of tune it's not going to sound good. So you really need to make sure that you tune your guitar every time you pick it up. Just because you tuned it yesterday doesn't mean it's going to be in tune today. So tune your guitar every time you play it, and you'll get much better results. Alright, so that's the end of today's lesson. I hope that's been helpful for you guys. And as usual, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And if you have friends who are interested in playing guitar or learning guitar, please feel free to recommend this channel to them. Much appreciated. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.